Hello and welcome friends for part 2 of the presentation. In this presentation, we'll get acquainted with the basic learning terms as well as procrastination, how to tackle with that, memory, as well as some scientific background related with memory. I hope you will like the content. I wish you very happy learning. So, in earlier slides, you got acquainted with the definition of the learning. Learning is a process. It is a result of experiencing something. So, this process should be following a particular track. If it loses the track, it won't be resulting in the learning. In order to be a good learner, we must keep a few things in our mind. Let's try to understand the various terms that I have shown here. See, let's try to understand the first thing. Say, we are learned with alphabet B follows alphabet A. So we know here now the relation, there are two alphabets A and B. First alphabet is A, second alphabet is B, and B follows A. So say if because of certain instance you are nervous and somebody asks you immediately that what are the two alphabets you learned about, as you are in the stress condition, your mind may not be working fully and you may be a bit jumbled. Hence, you may get choked as such. So, under some circumstances, there could be a necessity that you have to keep cramming that B follows A, B follows A, and accordingly. So, even if there is some say nervous moment, there would be, because of the automaticity, you will be able to answer immediately alphabet A and B. First comes A, next comes B. A is being followed by B. But as you have learned about this particular say relationship in between A and B, you are quite comfortable with that. And if you keep repeating the same thing in the same session, it won't help at all. And hence, you'll be wasting your valuable learning time. As such, what happens is nothing but overlearning. So, there is a necessity to know when to stop and when to move to the next skill. As such, here you are putting in the efforts, but you are not getting that particular say reasonable returns out of it. You are not trying to develop certain new skill, hence the term diminishing returns. Sometimes it could be happening that you are focusing simply on A and B, but you know there are many other alphabets to learn. They could be interrelated with each other. They could be grouped together in order to form certain words. That words could be used in order to construct certain sentences. The sentences could be changed in order to create some different impacts. So many some such things are there. But as you are keeping simply that A and B in mind, you are focusing simply learning A and B, and you just assume that you know everything. So as we keep on repeating something we already know perfectly well, here there is a illusion of competence. Here there is a need to have some deliberate practice, that is to enter into the new area, try to get certain new ideas understood, learn more difficult aspect, and moreover learn through mistakes. Mistakes are always good. But sometimes, or okay, could be sometimes, for me at least, that my mindset doesn't allow me to enter into new idea. I'm quite comfortable whatever the learning that I have. That means here my mindset is just acting as a roadblock. The initial focused mind has already developed the neural pattern and it is strengthened over the time. I'm not ready to learn the better idea. Hence, here this kind of mental block caused because of the mindset is termed by certain German term which is called as Einstellung. In fact, as we try to learn with the relation of this particular A and B while trying to understand the term overlearning, it is quite probable that if we try to learn the subsequent alphabets, say C, D, E, etc., 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 as we try to group them, as we try to form various groups, as we try to use that particular word in different sentences with different emphasis, with different situations, actually will be jumping back and forth in different situations wherein we will be using different approaches to understand some say new ideas, so to say, to learn new things. And hence, this particular approach is called as interleaving. Keep practicing jumping back and forth between the problems or the situation which will require different techniques and strategies. One more important aspect is related with not losing your heart. There is certain rule which is termed as principle of serendipity, wherein it is presumed that there is lady luck and it keeps on favoring the one who keeps on trying. On the previous slide, we tried to learn a few associated terms like overlearning, diminishing returns, illusion of competence, as well as Einstellung and interleaving, and their importance associated to be good learner. In the coming slides, we'll be discussing about two very important concepts, namely procrastination and memory. The first concept is procrastination. I remember my childhood. In the early morning, when I used to wake up, the next immediate thought used to flash in my mind was going to school. And going to the school, that means preventing myself from lot many other hobbies I had. So the first thing, that intention I used to have was a disliking going to the school. And hence, I used to start giving some lame reasons that, okay, I'm not feeling well, my stomach is aching, I don't like school, okay, my friends are not good, my teacher is not good. And ultimately, when my mother used to allow me, I used to have the great happiness. I used to immediately get that particular temporary happiness and I switch over to my other routine things. So here the procrastination is the kind of thing very similar to that. That is, I have some pain associated with something and hence I dislike something. So, when you look at something that you really rather not do, it seems that you activate the areas of your brain associated with something. Hence, as if I'm giving some lame reasons, I try to switch over. That is, the brain naturally enough looks for a way to stop that negative stimulation by switching our attention to something else. Here, the researchers have discovered that instead of disliking and switching over the very idea, if one starts dealing with that, the associated neurodiscomfort disappears. And as one keeps on practicing here, the way the pain neural pattern that is developed becomes darker and transforms into purple darkness. So to say, here the habit of that particular say procrastination can be easily removed from that particular mind. One of the nice technique that is discussed by the resource persons is Pomodoro technique. Here, what we need is just a timer, which is here, as you see, that Pomodoro tomato shaped implement that we use. So here it would be set for 25 minutes and just keep focused with some concept. So here you have to just switch off the probable interruptions, disturbances and be with you for 25 minutes. Here, as that particular 25 minutes period is lapsed, here don't forget to give something, some good reward to you that you would like. Okay, so here the first stage of the procrastination is disliking, and here some pain is associated and there is some say firm concept with the mind that okay, I can't do that. Here subsequently we try to give the lame reasons and ultimately, according to the researchers' finding, as you start working on that, the habit of the procrastination can be easily broken. The Pomodoro technique is especially useful for breaking the habit of procrastination. So basically, why this particular procrastination happens? So there could be lot many reasons. There could be say fear of the failure. Even there could be fear of the success. There could be low self-esteem. I could be enough lazy to deal with something. I may not be having the interest or associated skill with that. I may not be the proper decision maker related with that particular say factor. Or otherwise, there could not be say a proper time frame associated with that particular work. Even there could be absence of the clarity or the authority may not be cooperative related with doing that particular task. And because of that, you establish the habit of the procrastination. This particular procrastination typically is associated with habit. And habit is such a thing that it cannot be easily broken. But scientifically, it can be seen in these particular 4 steps. There is some trigger, there is some cue that makes your brain to enter into the routine. And you get the temporary pleasure of that entering into that particular routine, and that reward is more appreciating. You keep believing that, okay, this is what is happening. So here the habit associated with the procrastination is very easy to develop because of the associated reward, because you enter into pleasant happening immediately, quickly, very easily, instead of suffering through the associated pain. In order to change this particular habit, you have to break the underlying belief. So, just understanding that particular procrastination and why it causes and how the habit of this particular say procrastination occurs, we can discuss some of the concepts associated with tackling procrastination. So, in order to tackle with the procrastination, you can have different approaches like managing your time, managing the task, and managing your mind. So, here the first thing is, in order to tackle the procrastination, the first thing that we saw here is that you have to change your underlying belief. And in order to change this particular belief, use the time efficiently. Plan it, frame the time schedule, keep the diary associated, monitor your progress. Just check what happens if what is done. And accordingly, this particular set time management will help you to tackle this particular procrastination. In addition, here you can prepare certain list of the key tasks in your planner journal, and the way Dr. Barbara has explained, it's better to deal with unpleasant tasks, that is eating the frogs initially. So do unpleasant task first. In order to do so, say that you are living in the healthy environment. Here, proactively you are entering into the something. Here, there should be least disturbance in order to manage that particular task. And for that, you can choose the, say, conducive environment, and say that this particular environment will help you to facilitate, to break the habit of that particular procrastination. You can have certain backup plans also. That is, say, if some particular step is not helping you to break that particular, say, procrastination habit, what can be done else? So here, whatever that particular initial belief that you have, whatever that particular cue that you are receiving, whatever that particular, say, routine you are entering into, whatever that particular reward you are, say, getting, if you somehow keep certain other thing, certain other alternative ready, which will be giving more pleasant experience, and keeping that particular, say, painful thing aside, you will be able to tackle the procrastination effectively. And in addition, here you be with yourself. Keep the record of that particular accomplishment. So whenever you are suffering through that particular, say, kind of the habit, as you go through that particular list, it will be quite easy to enter into that particular mode, and accordingly you will be able to break that particular self-procrastination. The dealing with the mind is very important step. First of all, you have to admit yourself. But the thing is, you are the king of your mind. You can focus on the process. But while focusing on the process and while admitting that particular uneasiness, keep that there should not be any illusion of competence. So you have to make that particular deliberate practice as we discussed earlier, and hence you should not fool yourself. As you live for the present and as you give the self rewards, definitely you will be able to guard against these particular, say, procrastination. It is quite probable that there would be lot many disturbances. The journey sometimes, say, may be difficult as such. But if you control your mind, definitely you can easily guard against the divergence. As discussed, Pomodoro is very effective technique that you can definitely employ in order to tackle with this particular procrastination. The second part is memory. And procrastination and memory are very intimately related with each other because we wish to have certain concept learned for long time. Let's get a few of the things understood as far as the aspects of memory are concerned. Here, the memory can be considered in two parts. One is short-term memory. It holds only about 4 chunks of the information. We have to keep repeating what we are trying to memorize. But just don't get confused about having the repetitions. That does not mean the overlearning the way we discussed earlier. You should know where to stop. This particular short-term memory is also termed as working memory. It is immediate and it is related with conscious processing. You should have used copy-paste function while preparing some Word document or anything. So here you copy the material and you paste it. So copying and pasting in between, it is associated with conscious immediate processing for short time. That's why it is short-term memory. Whereas, as we consider long-term memory, it is very similar to the hard disk of the computer. It has got wide storage. In fact, human's brain has got multiple capacities of available known hard disk capacities. So it is just like a warehouse. You will find lot many chunks distributed over the big area. And as you know, say if you are entering into some some storeroom, and if you don't have the habit to revisiting the same again and again, you won't be able to understand what is kept where. And it will be a very difficult task to catch something. Very similar to that, here in the long-term memory, which is just like a warehouse, you have to revisit and you have to keep your mind that what is placed where. So here It is meant for storing fundamental concepts and techniques, and hence it is very much important. So, whenever you try to deal with some kind of the information, that information is processed and it is firstly tackled instantaneously with short-term memory. So here you have got just 4 slots of that particular, say, information to tackle in that particular short-term memory. I hope you would be remembering about that learning octopus, isn't it? So here its 4 tentacles will be just moving through that particular, say, 4 ports, and that will be entering into this particular, say, long-term memory. So if that are occupied, you won't be able to access your long-term memory. In between this particular long-term memory and short-term memory, here the certain things are happening. Here that particular chunk is associated with some kind of additional information, and hence that is encoding. Whereas whenever you are interested to remember something, say for example you are giving test and now you wish to have that particular concept recalled from your long-term memory, you are trying to attach that particular, say, chunk of the information which is stored in that particular, say, long-term memory. So here you use lot many senses. Your sight, your touch, your smell, what you listen, what you test, and all that particular things are associated with brain. So the combination of this particular, say, short-term memory and long-term memory is, say, a very important concept as far as learning is concerned. So in order to avoid that particular, say, over learning, we can make use of spaced repetition. So spaced repetition helps us to move the information into long memory. It takes often time as well as practice. So the way we visit the store, warehouse to keep the account of the various items placed at some places, we create some memorable idea and we keep on repeating it. So here that repeating is not continuous, but it is spaced repetition. That is, occasionally you will be recalling that particular information, you will be just rejuvenating the concept, and accordingly it will help you to transfer that particular, say, concept into the long-term memory. Some Anki-like open source flashcard program helps us to deal with this particular spaced repetition. Otherwise, handwritten flashcards are also helpful for transferring the information from short-term memory to long-term memory. Let's try to understand some of the scientific facts associated with memory. There are multiple memory systems for different types of learning. Hippocampus is an important part of the brain system for learning and memorize facts as well as events. Hippocampus and its input, it is not possible to store new memory in the cortex, a process called memory consolidation that can take many years. So here we have to have some inputs as well as hippocampus in order to store the new memories in the cortex. This particular process is called as memory consolidation, and this particular memory consolidation occurs over the many years. Memories are not fixed, that are not concrete, but that are dynamic, that are living. that are breathing parts of the brain. So here they keep on changing all of the time. Just recall your childhood, your youth, and now the stage you are in. So whatever the kind of a concept that you had in your childhood is not the same, similar, but it has changed. For example, I used to afraid of entering into the darkness. Now, in the dark, I can easily move, but somewhere in the mind, still, I have that thing somewhere telling me that particular say darkness is not good. So whenever we recall the memory, it changes and it makes, or the process is called as reconsolidation. A few of the say important parts are shown here. You can visit the site or brain parts, and of course here as you listen to Dr. Terry, here you will be able to get lot many concept revived as far as this particular brain and their parts are. I hope you remember about the memory techniques that we discussed about, fancy list or that particular say palace technique, memory palace technique. So acronyms and such things. So here just one such memory technique I have used here in order to understand the concept associated with neurons, synapse, then certain glial cells, astrocytes, and the interrelated concepts. Go through that. I hope you will understand on your own.
Hello friends, I hope you like the content. So these first two parts are creating background for part 3, which is very important as far as my real motive behind creating this presentation is concerned. In the part 3, you'll learn more about how to be better learner as well as using specific technologies such as metaphor and analogy in order to learn as well as present the contents. You will also get acquainted with value of teamwork and the most important thing is of interest, that is performing well on test. So I wish you very happy learning. Please proceed with part 3 and don't forget to give your comments, especially for the last content that is related with performing well on test. Thank you.